stepping back and taking a nice long look at all that he had created, and indeed God knew that it was good. And so the evening and the morning were the sixth day. And thus the heavens and the earth and all the hosts of them were finished. And on the seventh day God ended the work that he had done and rested. Then God blessed this day and sanctified it, because in it he rested from all that he had created and made. OMG, oh my goodness, can you imagine being given such a special gift of life, of love, of security, right from your very first breath of fresh air, from God's own lungs, no less? So let's pause our story right here and inhale a big gulp of fresh air ourselves while we take a look at one of the most famous works of art in all of art history, the creation of Adam, or the creation of man. It's the fourth panel in the series of 9, but it's the last one that Michelangelo completed. The creation of man, or as it's often called, the creation of Adam, is considered the masterpiece in this wonderful series. Michelangelo really reached the high water mark with this painting. The composition has one theme, and that theme is crystal clear. Misinterpreting or misunderstanding this painting is absolutely impossible. Let's take a closer look at this wonderful painting. Right after completing this wonderful masterpiece, Leonardo moves back to Florence. So back in Florence by the early 1500s, and he's commissioned once again to paint a portrait, which becomes one of the most famous and recognizable portraits in all the world. You're right, Mona Lisa, painted in 1503 to 1506, is now at the Louvre. Now, as I mentioned, she is one of the most famous portraits in all the world, but also Leonardo's favorite, as he carried her around for many years. She's traveled to Florence, to Milan, to Rome, to France, where she was eventually sold to Francis I. She later adorned the bedroom of Napoleon. As we know, acid's been thrown on her. She's been stolen a couple of times. And now she rests safe and sound inside the walls of the Louvre, not on the walls of the Louvre, in the walls of the Louvre. Now, the sitter is commonly believed to be a Florentine by the name of Lisa Garandina. Mona is abbreviated for Madonna, which means my lady, and when you add that to her first name, you get Mona Lisa, the title the English-speaking world has given this portrait. But that is not what the Italians call her. Remember, she's Florentine, and they're very proud of that fact. And so they refer to her by her name, La Gioconda. She was married to a silk merchant and a local politician by the name of Francesco del Gioconda. And so that is what they refer to her today, La Gioconda. So let's take a closer look at this wonderful masterpiece as well. Today's presentation is Summertime in Art History. And fortunately for all of us, there is no shortage of wonderful, beautiful works of art that have a theme of fun and the sun in them. So sit back and relax while I show you these wonderful works of art that show young love playing in fanciful outdoor settings. The rich and fabulous of early French society enjoying the caress of a warm summer breeze, or maybe even the caress of a lover. The artists of the Impressionist movement painting together along the beaches of France, along the River Seine, and in the lively life of the Parisian cafes in the summertime. This is Summertime in Paris, so let's enjoy. For this presentation, I've put together works of art that are going to begin with Rococo to the beginnings of the era of Impressionism. So we're going to go from the early 1700s to the mid-1850s, 1860s. So let's begin with the early 1700s. Now, during the early 1700s, there was a developing interest in nature, not only in the earth and the plants and the flowers, but also in human nature, desires and instincts. Mankind is now seen as the most interesting aspect of human nature, the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly. The artists of the early 1700s were beginning to paint differently, using a newer, softer palette.